Hashtag NFL Rank. That's what ESPN.com is calling their latest top 100 players in the NFL list. The .com staff made it clear that this is not an MVP vote, and the directions were simple. Rate players based on greatness. So let's take a look at that list again. Skip. Tony Romo, number 31. You didn't have a vote, clearly. J.J. Watt, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady rounding out the top 3. Nelly is with us all day. He's fired up. And guess who is back? Ryan Clark. Ryan, we need to get your take on this. Okay. Always. Is J.J. Watt the best player in the NFL currently?
So is this like kind of almost like a Madden ranking, right? So it's not necessarily are you most valuable to a team. Positionally, it's about your dominance.
Yeah, and it's how close are you to being the all-time greatest at your position.
It's right. If we are taking how great are you at playing your position, because you have to remember the quarterback position is always inflated. It's always inflated. Because
I don't think it's inflated. It's just inflated.
Think about it. Think about it. When you talk about quarterbacks, no matter how good the team is, a quarterback his legacy is always tied to Super Bowls, because they feel like if that quarterback won a certain amount of Super Bowls, he had to be a huge factor in it. Whereas we talked about Tom Brady yesterday. The first 2, he managed those games. You know, Trent Dilfer has a Super Bowl win as well. Do you put him ahead of Dan Marino? So I think the quarterback position gets a lot of love and sometimes a lot of flack for that's undeserved. But you look at J.J. Watt. He's the most dominant person playing a position in football. You move him inside, guards can't block him. You move him outside, tackles and tight ends can't handle him. You can't double team him. You put him on offense, cats can't check him. You throw him passes, he catches touchdowns. You fumble the ball, magically he's the guy there to scoop it up and do a terrible dance at the end. Now, do I think where you kind of interview him and he does a little, he does a little bit to self-promote, but when you're that good, it doesn't matter. Yeah. He is the best positional player in football.
I don't mind the showmanship. I mean, definitely, and I think he's a great player, and I definitely believe in everything that you just said as well. But that defense was ranked 16th. They were ranked 24th in passing. If this was any other sport,
it ain't because of him.
No, but no, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, your impact is not causing wins. If your impact was causing wins, I see that, and I'm not. And you're absolutely right.
Can it cause wins at that position?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It can cause wins from the quarterback position. So, in other words, sometimes that position is more valuable. So, if that position is more valuable, how can that position not be at the top of the list? That's just my thinking.
Because they said it wasn't an MVP vote, though.
And you lighten me up to that. And everything that you just said, now rethinking it, I have to agree with you. If that's the criteria upon which this list was made, then yeah, I don't think there's a better defensive lineman in the game, because like you said, you can move him anywhere. He's going to have that type of impact. I agree. I would love to have him on the Rams. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, if he's this good, everybody needs him. If he's the number 1, if he's this great, if he's a 98.8,
they could use him on offense.
Everybody needs him. Everybody needs him if he's number 1. He's catching touchdowns. He's doing everything. There's not a team in the league that he can't play for.
Ryan Clark, I love you, but I am very disappointed in you. I'm shocked at your take on this one. I truly anticipated you would go our way on this, because our way is that his team that he stars for as a guy who's on his way to becoming the greatest defensive, whichever you want to call him, a tackler and end ever at his position. Right. That team is 11-21 over the last 2 years. And you say the quarterback position is inflated in its value. So you can argue back to me, well, they've had Matt Schaub, you can discount the quarterback. And I'm saying back to your argument, quarterback doesn't really matter, because he is on his way, to quote this poll, one of the voters is saying, on his way to becoming the greatest ever at his position. And the score.
I am in 100% agree.
Okay. The score. He's a 99. I'm rounding up just a tad here. The highest score of all time is 100. J.J. Watt, after 4 NFL seasons, is at a 99. And I'm just going to throw out a few names at you because I just watch on my couch on Sunday.
Okay.
Lawrence Taylor leaped off my screen.
No doubt.
He took over football games in ways that shocked and astonished me because you could just see it. He was unblockable coming off the edge, and he broke Joe Theismann's leg, compound fractured it to the bone was sticking out of his leg. And I know I'm being dramatic here,
no, it's real,
but still, that's the kind of play that Lawrence Taylor routinely made. When he was in his right mind, he had his issues, but
in his wrong mind.
When he was in his wrong mind,
He's good.
But listen, Charles Haley just got in the Hall of Fame, and he deserved to be in years ago because he's 5 Super Bowl rings. Just absolute unblockable monster coming off the edge. I saw it. People
He
scared.
played with Jerry Rice. He played with Roger Craig.
Okay, but in Dallas, he took
defense.
Hey,
Ryan, that helps you win Super Bowls.
The 1992 Dallas Cowboys were not remotely ready to do what they were about to do, and Charles Haley was the X factor. They stole him from the 49ers, and he took them over the edge into the Super Bowl. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then I keep going to Deion Sanders. He changed the game of football. He's 100 at his position. And again, as a defensive force, that changes the way you game plan. I'm just not, I know what J.J. Watt does. I get all that, but it's not having dramatic impact on the outcome of the football game.
Was Deion Sanders the same Deion Sanders when he was an Atlanta Falcon?
No. He was a younger player, though. He's more of a returner than a corner.
But he locked down sides there. The reason the San Francisco 49ers and the reason the Dallas Cowboys got him later on in his career was because of what he was able to do in Atlanta. It wasn't because he put wins in the stat column. It was because he locked down people, and they understood that if we get him on our team, now he doesn't have to stick Jerry Rice, or now he's not on Michael Irvin, or to actually switch teams from San Francisco to Dallas.
I get it.
My other thing is this, though. J.J. Watt, for perspective, a good friend of mine is the cornerbacks coach at the Green Bay Packers. He calls me when Julius Peppers gets there. They were just talking about what J.J. Watt's been doing, and they were just saying, man, this is just unbelievable. Like, I don't know how he's doing this. And he said, if everything I see about J.J. Watt is what it is, then he's the best I've ever seen do it. This is Julius Peppers, who's one of the best players, who has been one of the best players at his position since he's been in the league. He said, if everything is what I see, he's the best I've ever seen do it. And that's from a peer. That's from somebody that plays the position. I'm not saying that if we were drafting guys, would I take Aaron Rodgers first? No doubt. Would I take Tom Brady right after him? I sure would. But if we're talking about a person that dominates his position, he dominates this position to me like when Randy Moss first got into the league in Minnesota, he dominated that position. Right. He was probably the best player in the NFL just positionally. Maybe not most important or most valuable. And so for me, you put J.J. Watt on any team, he does this.
Okay,
it's a hard position to produce wins from.
I'm doing eye test here. I don't get to watch the Texans every game because, frankly, I haven't cared about the Texans that much over the last last 4 years, for that matter. But I watched the whole game when they played at Jerry World against my Dallas Cowboys. It went to overtime. Romo finally made a throw to Dez. We're about to talk about who's more valuable between those two. Yep. But it broke the game open. And yet I watched the whole game, and I did not walk away from my TV set saying, man, that J.J. Watt was unblockable today. He was good, but he wasn't all-time great to where I said, that guy is it, man. That's the greatest I've ever seen.
He's had over 20 sacks 2 of the last 3 years.
Okay, and they went
2 and 14. You only played 16 games.
Okay, 2-14 and 9-7. Somehow it's not having rub-off effect on this football team.
It's. I think again, it's almost.
The Giants made the playoffs when Strahan had 22.
I don't know.
22. I don't remember that.
No.
Brett Favre gave him the last one, right?
Okay, so the 21 he got.
Okay. Right.
But they didn't win the Super Bowl that year. That didn't necessarily produce a championship team, but he was killing it.
Well, I don't think, again, and you have enlightened me to this.
Oh, are you folding?
No.
Come on over, Nelly.
Listen,
Come on over.
He hasn't
going
like,
down, baby.
But see, like I asked earlier, who did this list? Because I wanted to
70
know the
people
criteria.
voted. 70 people.
Well, I wanted to know their thinking and going into this list because it was hard for me to understand it as part of the voting. But if you say the voting is what it is as far as who dominates their position like no other. He dominates his position like no other. But are we saying? But are we saying that position rules the game of football?
No, that's not what.
Okay. Well, that's more.
Although you do say,
I have one. It has now gotten hot in here.
Because
it has now gotten hot in here.
Wait a second.
You mispronounced the final word in that line, right?
Her.
Yeah. Look at that. Put the 2 R's in there, man.
All right, so J.J. Watt is one of 7 players to win multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards. The other is Ray Lewis, and the other 5 are all in the Hall of Fame. Of course, Ray Lewis will be as well. So we asked you guys earlier in the show, which player would you rather have, Dez Bryant or Tony Romo? The results are in. We're getting into that after the break. Ryan, you are staying put.
Uh-oh.